The Bitcoin community's main objection against XRP is that there should only be one cryptocurrency, and that it should be the greatest decentralized currency available. I want to discuss in this video whether or not this is an issue for XRP and whether it will always be a secondary currency to something like Bitcoin. As always, this channel really appreciates your support. We appreciate everyone who takes the time to subscribe to the channel and like these videos. These two easy things are a huge assistance to me. Additionally, be sure to check out my favorite exchange upload, which is mentioned in the video's description, if you have a new location to purchase XRP. However, let's get straight to the point. And I hope the content is enjoyable to all of you. I want to start this video by jumping right into something that I think is crucial to comprehend: the true distinction between the way the XRP community views the cryptocurrency business and how Bitcoin maxis thinks. As I mentioned in the introduction, one of the main misconceptions among members of the Bitcoin community is that all cryptocurrencies exist just to serve as the greatest decentralized currency. In essence, they're attempting to develop a brand new, highly decentralized money. The fact that Bitcoin is ultimately not going into that money role is one of the things about this that I find so fascinating. It is moving much more in the direction of a valuable asset store. Since its conception, the primary objective of Bitcoin has been to function as a medium of exchange. The currency was intended to be used for peer-to-peer transactions. However, the Bitcoin network effectively eliminated the possibility to utilize Bitcoin for its entire intended use case because it expends so much energy on mining and other related tasks. As a result, Bitcoiners found themselves in a situation where they had to try to modify the perception of Bitcoin in order to make it something it wasn't. They sort of shifted it to the store of value after realizing that Bitcoin would never be successful as a true currency, which was its original intent. They are now comparing it to something like gold. However, no one visits the store to purchase items made of gold if you look at something like gold in the market today. In reality, nobody uses gold for any kind of transaction. The majority of people just hold and store value in gold. People don't just store their value in gold. Isn't that the main issue that Bitcoiners will face here? Gold, silver, Nvidia stock, bonds, and treasuries are all places where people save their valuables, right? People invest their money in a variety of financial goods. Bitcoin is currently being added to that mixture. Simply put, it's something new that has value. However, the notion that Bitcoin is a decentralized currency that is entirely distinct from all other cryptocurrencies has sort of collapsed, and it basically boils down to the Bitcoiners themselves altering the narrative and refocusing the attention that Bitcoin is trying to gain from the general public. At first, Bitcoin was viewed as a new worldwide decentralized currency, but people have been compelled to change their minds and simply view it as another store of value asset. Since Bitcoiners are essentially shutting down the blockchain's potential for use, I believe that this greatly expands the opportunity for alternative cryptocurrencies to flourish. Stable currencies are one of the most intriguing use cases of blockchains that we have observed. Isn't that right? Real money that is integrated into the internet. It's still internet money even though it's not decentralized. Additionally, Bitcoin's function as any form of currency has been totally superseded by this. Compared to Bitcoin, these stablecoins are far more similar to currency. As I previously discussed, they have thus totally supplanted Bitcoin's function and status as a money in this digital environment, leaving it entirely outside of its original intended use case. Now, if you just dissect this reasoning, you can see that Bitcoin was designed to accomplish a certain goal. That was not possible. It had to change course and proceed in a different direction. Stablecoins, a new technology, arrived and accomplished what Bitcoin was attempting to do. This alone ought to demonstrate to Bitcoin users that other technologies will eventually be required. Indeed, they are literally fulfilling the entire purpose for which Bitcoin was developed. This should immediately raise serious concerns for anyone who believes that Bitcoin is the sole significant factor in the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin has basically given up on accomplishing its original goal, and there are technologies out there now that are doing it. That should demonstrate that this asset class will have a wide range of winners. However, I believe it goes even farther, because I genuinely believe that the vast majority of individuals who invest in cryptocurrencies in the future will view this asset class quite differently than Bitcoiners did in the past. As I mentioned earlier, having a new place to hold value is one of Bitcoin's greatest use cases or value propositions at the moment. The issue, though, is that it only appeals to a certain segment of the population, correct? Only those who see the potential of Bitcoin and wish to retain their wealth in that asset would find it enticing. There isn't any other justification for using the Bitcoin network. As we discussed, Bitcoin already given up on being a currency, therefore this severely restricts its network effect. As a result, you will never be compelled to use Bitcoin as payment, nor will the typical individual ever use it for any type of transaction. As a result, only those who share the goal of buying that particular asset with the group of people who have already made the decision will be purchasing and utilizing the Bitcoin network. Allow me to demonstrate how this is significantly different from something like XRP, and this is crucial. The fact that the XRP ledger offers more uses than just this asset that you can purchase and speculate on is among its many fascinating features, isn't it? In reality, any currency can be transacted using the XRP ledger, and XRP serves as the liquidity to enable those transactions. In the end, though, I might use XRP without even realizing it if I only needed to send $1 from one person to another. Even if I'm not purchasing, speculating, or holding XRP, this effectively makes me a user of XRP and produces a wider network effect. I still benefit from XRP's usefulness. This is the way to greatly increase the network effect and raise awareness of a key use of the technology. People have now commented, "Wait, I just sent 25 transactions and they all landed instantly for a split second. What technologies can I purchase to basically profit from this?" In fact, I think this makes sense. This use case is real. My life is improving because of this concrete object. The great majority of people invest in this way when they perceive something that will be helpful in solving an issue. They think it will become even more valuable in the future. People like the CME are already locking into this, as we can see. Hey, Bitcoin has been a great start to the cryptocurrency industry, but when we look at this, we see these networks as utility networks, payment vehicles, and transaction settlement networks. The CME recently published an essay that is not what Bitcoin will be used for. And as a result, they observe that a significant quantity of money is moving from Bitcoin into these other cryptocurrency networks. I really want to emphasize this point now. I take it that people enjoy the CME, these huge institutional networks, are accustomed to examining businesses that are finding solutions to issues and to actively tinkering with the stock and equity markets. They don't get too excited about stuff like GameStop or AMC, do they? Things that lack a fundamental value, was merely a massive meme momentum play, and all of this is conjecture. That isn't the type of stuff that excites them. What excites them is real technology resolving an issue, generating a network effect, and expanding to radically alter how people relate to one another. That is what the XRP ledger can accomplish by offering a fundamental function that helps these companies overcome issues rather than pressuring users to buy XRP as a means of investing. Additionally, XRP is a crucial component in the solution of that issue. Bitcoin is merely a straightforward idea for people to speculate on if the network is unable to accomplish its goals, which were to actually produce better, faster transactions and be used as money. It is identical to everything else that is available for purchase and possession. However, by developing into an institutional settlement network and allowing XRP to have a core utility within that network, you are reaching everyone on the planet who needs to transfer money, removing the need for them to necessarily invest in XRP's speculative side in order to recognize the usefulness